Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I never thought I'd say this. It's so wild, so oaks. I'm Chantal, your virtual confidant. And this is something I've been meaning to do for a long time. You know, um, it's something God has been speaking to me about for some time, and I just wanted to make sure that I got to a place where I felt like I was going to be doing it from purely a place of obedience and not for my own personal agenda, whether it's to gather attention, feel validated in any opinions or whatever. I wanted to make sure that I was doing it purely because he said so, that it had nothing to do with me, and so yeah, I have that peace. I have that peace now, and I am in a place in my own journey and walk with him where he really is the one that has shaped and molded my identity and who I am. So I know that I can do this without becoming vulnerable to the effects that social media can often have on us. I think one of my biggest anxieties was allowing this to become a source of validation for me, that somebody tuned in or felt like I was worth listening to or whatever, because that's not what this is about for me. I really, really feel like there are so many important conversations that we need to have, like as young people, as believers. There's so much that we aren't talking about that is so crucial, so pivotal to the people that we become. There are conversations that we aren't having in our relationships that we really should be having. There are conversations we're scared to bring up. So I just wanted to create like a safe space where we can come and process together and unpack together from the little things to the big things. I remember like being a teenager and feeling so alone. Like I had so many people around me, but the things I actually needed guidance and help about, and the questions I had and the feelings I was struggling with, were the ones I really felt alone in. And I know it takes a certain level of like vulnerability to even get to a place where you yourself are willing to acknowledge and admit like where you are, and vice versa. Like you need to receive that same level of vulnerability from the next person. Like these are even some of the frustrations I've had, having done some of my own inner work. Like sometimes you still get into places where you feel like you're not being heard, you're not being seen, and now you're ready to have the conversations, but the people around you don't seem to be at that place where they are willing to meet you to have them. So I want this to be that place. Let's talk about it all. Everything that you could possibly go through, as a young person: social media, mental health, friendships, relationships, family dynamics. Guys, we're going through a lot. Like, we're going through a lot. So, this is just something, God has put in my heart to start doing. I am an occupational therapist by profession. So this is just one of the things that are very close to my heart. It's really central to the work that I do. I really care about the hearts of people. I really care about the state of people's internal world. Let's do the work. Let's do the work together. It's so scary to do it alone. So I think that it's good that I start with like a little icebreaker, or whatever. So like I said, my name is Chantal. I'm the firstborn of two children. My brother, he's 3 years younger than me. We're extremely close. I love him to death. That's like one of the most important relationships in my life. Like for real. Like he has such an amazing personality. Like I like him as a person, just apart from being my brother, I actually like him as a gent. My mom and dad, they're back home. I grew up in Nelspruit, White River to be specific. I was at the University of Pretoria. And yeah, I had so much fun in varsity. Like I had so much fun. We were also like first year at a time where people weren't getting trafficked and stuff. So you could really just while. You can really just while and like mingle with strangers, and it wouldn't be a thing, And yeah, varsity was a blast, man. Like I think things got real probably mid third year. That's when I realized nothing was the same. Now I had to really be locked in. And then final year was just a hell, a nightmare. Okay, yo, but just in general, I really, really had an amazing varsity experience. I learned so much. I grew so much, and that's really where I would say even like my relationship with Christ kind of solidified. Like it had always been there, but that's when it really like I was just like, okay, God's not playing with me. Like I really need to get it together. I had started going to CRC, and then I was part of this really amazing cell. I love those girls with all my heart. You know, they were so pivotal. Well, there were also guys too, but like that cell, it really had such an impact, you know, in each and every one of us lives at the time, and just period. And it was so amazing. It was so good. That's really when I think I would say like God got a hold of me, and he was just like, okay, girl, like, are you done? Like, you've had your fun, but now we need to roll up your sleeves and let's get down to it. And yeah, like, so, you know, this is a shout out to CRC also. I'm so grateful for setting that foundation at a really critical time, also, like, in a young person's life. Because, I mean, you know, like, your early 20s are a bit hectic. So it was refreshing to, like, go to church and have the pastor tell you 9 in your face, like, listen, you're not about to be fornicating. Like, that's not what God wants for you. You know? So that's where that started. Like I was just like, yo, okay, like this is what we're doing. So when I started going to CRC initially, I was like in a really, really tricky relationship at the time. And every Sunday when I'd go to church, I'd be getting convicted because like it was just a thing of why are you still there? Why are you still there? And every Sunday I'd be like repenting. You know when you're repenting every Sunday religiously. Yo, guys, it took me forever, but anyway, God got me out eventually. And you know, yeah, I was in the mud. No, I was in the pits at the time. And you know, that's another thing. Like the devil, you really uses relationships to really get you down bad. So please, girlies, like really do your vetting process properly. You know, be intentional about who you let around you, and boys too. Like all of us, you know, because girls can also be, you know, a lot going on these days. But let's just do our due diligence, guys, with the relationships we get involved in, because getting out of it is so much harder than getting in. Like getting in is so easy. But now when you must leave, and there's attachment, and there's been time invested, and there's feelings, and there's been like trauma bonding going on, like no, no. I would tell this to my if I had a younger sister or cousins or like my own child, like definitely take your time getting to know people. You know, there's no rush. Don't do the whole infatuation thing and then you like rush down to make things official, and you barely know this person and now like they shock you, but it's too late to leave, especially if you're anything like me. Like I'm the type of person, like if I commit, I've committed. If it's not, make sure we need to like try, you know. um I mean, I've worked on that too. Like that's something I've had to work on. Like there's nothing noble about staying in something that is unhealthy just to prove like your level of like commitment or loyalty to something. Like it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't really speak to who you are as a person. So you don't need to feel guilty about leaving anything that you know isn't meant for you at that current point in time. So I am, you know, a Dora the Explorer, like to the highest degree. I love to travel. I love nature. Like I love the outdoors more than anything. I'm still a homebody at heart. Like I'm a big homebody, but if I'm going outside, you know, it needs to be worth my while. So I love sightseeing. You know, I love going to places I haven't seen before. I love trying out new places. You know, I love a good restaurant. I love a good meal. I love art. I appreciate art. I love to read. I've been reading since I was a child. Like when I was like about 7, I started reading. I was in like a little book club, and I was actually even going to like reading competitions like in primary school. So I've been reading my whole life. I love to read. I love a good book. Now I think I'm not so much into the fiction stuff. Like I'm more into like your philosophical psychology types, you know, like the stuff that like tells you something about life, you know. But really my favorite book is the Bible. That's my, like my Bible is always right here. I actually want to show you, like it's so old. Like I've had this Bible since it's old. Like I've had this Bible since I was maybe 15. And I love it so much because it has like all my sticky notes, all my old, like everything I've been thinking since that time is in here. So I really feel like it's a great representation of my journey with God over the years. And yeah, like it's messy, but it's real. Like it doesn't look perfect. I don't know if I mentioned already, but I am a born again believer. I love Jesus with all my heart. Really, like we've been through some things, and I spent so much of my life running from him. But I am happy to say we're good now. Like we're stable. I'll talk about my testimony story in another video, but I really love the Lord. So my other hobbies would include like music. I really, really enjoy music. My favorite is probably like rap slash R&B sound. That's kind of my vibe. I love a good beat. I love a play on words. I really appreciate details and things, so I really pay attention to like the beat of a song. I pay attention to the lyrics that are being said, what is being said, when it's being said. I'm a sucker for anything that expresses art in any kind of way, things that don't normally come naturally to like the general person, but when they just come so like easily to someone, like that fascinates me so much. So Afro beats, like that's my heart. I love Afro beats with all my heart. And of course, gospel. I listen to that more than anything. I'm actually currently on a 30-day secular music cleanse. So the idea is that you're supposed to avoid like every genre of worldly music for 30 days and just purely listen to gospel, and just kind of see like what that does, to your thought patterns, your mood. And it's been really like, I think now I understand like the level of impact that music has on our subconscious, because we're not always aware of these things. Like you might know like that if you listen to a certain song, it's gonna make you happy or it's gonna make you sad on a superficial level. But what you're listening to really kind of offsets the day you're having, offsets the thoughts you're having. It's almost like a backdrop to whatever scene is playing out. That's the kind of tone that music sets in your life. So now if on a daily basis all you're listening to is stuff that's speaking the opposite of life into you, like do you see how tricky that is? And it's so interesting too that like when we're going through stuff, typically that's when you'll gravitate more towards kind of mellow sad music, stuff that kind of just reaffirms what you're feeling. But like that's actually the opposite of what you need. Those are just some of the things I've realized like going on this cleanse, is that you don't have to feel like you're in the mood to listen to something uplifting, to actually put it on. And before you know it, it actually starts to work in your heart, work in your spirit. And then you're like, oh, actually, like, this is exactly what I needed. Typically, we're going to draw more towards how we're feeling, and the thing that, like, validates that. But that actually just keeps you in that place. Like, if you're sad and you're going to listen to a sad song, it just keeps you in that place of sadness. And if anything, encourages feelings of depression and anxiety and hopelessness in life, So, yeah, like music is powerful. That's the gist of what I'm saying is, yeah. And I would encourage anybody to try it. Yeah, I think that's really the gist of it. I'm a granny. Like, my hobbies right now are really like giving 40. Like, mostly I'm at home, watching Netflix. Yeah, that's probably also like up there on my list of hobbies. Like, I enjoy a good series, I enjoy a good movie. I love spending time with the people that I care about. I don't have a lot of them. Like my circle is very small, which is interesting because growing up, I was considered a social butterfly. I thought I was one. I was like very extroverted. And then the older I got, everybody just kind of fell off. And the more I wanted to be alone. So now I really, really appreciate my space, my alone time, my quiet time. Like after a long day, I look forward to coming home to like just silence and just being able to be in my thoughts. But when I do get around people I enjoy, that really does fill my cup. Like conversations that are meaningful are one of the things that mean the most to me. Another fun fact about me is that I am like borderline perfectionistic in a way. just when it comes to like how I do things, I really like to do anything that I'm gonna do like with excellence. And so, as much as like that sounds poetic, sometimes it's to my detriment. Sometimes I'm like I overthink things, overfunction. I end up like sometimes like you end up messing a thing up because you just won't leave it alone. You keep touching it. So yeah, so it's a combination of like it can work together for my good, but sometimes it really like causes problems for me. If this wasn't looking the way that it was looking right now, I probably wouldn't be recording. So like it's tricky, like it can be tricky, because I mean, at what point do you just say, "Ugh, it doesn't matter, let me just do the thing." So you can't always wait for conditions to be right to actually do the things you're supposed to do in life, and that's a message to myself too. But so yeah, I am a little bit on the perfectionistic side. It's hard to admit too, but I mean, these are the conversations we're here to have. So what else did I want to say? I'm in Middleburg, currently based here for work. I moved here 6 months ago, so I'm still getting to know the place, getting to know the area, the people. It's been really interesting. And so, needless to say, like, I don't know that many people here. I mean, I low-key just arrived. But yeah, it's been quite a journey, like moving to a new place where I don't know anybody, I don't have any family. A lot of my friends are like in Gauteng. So I have to be intentional actually about like setting out to spend some time with the people that I care about. Like, so yeah, I've been spending lots of time alone, when I'm not at work. Another thing I'm still adjusting to, like, it's so cold here. Yo, it's cold. And me, like, I'm a summer baby. I grew up in a summer town. Like, yeah, I'm really, like, I'm going through it, because it's my first winter here. But God's going to see me through. I mean, He has me here. That's another thing. Like, being here wasn't part of my plan. I did not know that I'd be here. The gist of the story is that an opportunity comes up to, like, come and interview for this job here. And like legit, like God made me apply. Like I felt convicted to apply for this. Like I knew that this was mine. Like I knew that it was done. Like I knew it. And so the call comes, and then yeah, like I started here beginning of October. Yeah, I started here beginning of October. And so the rest was history. Yeah, so God wanted me here and I'm here, and I obviously don't know what the future holds. Like, I don't know a year from now where he'll have me, or 2 years from now. Like, I don't know. But, he is trustworthy. This time last year, I didn't know that I'd be here right now. But he knew, and I'm very happy. I'm at peace. I love my workplace. Like, I have no complaints apart from the fact that I'm in an unfamiliar place and I don't have like that big of a support system. But it's been great. So much has changed in such a short space of time. And I think that's also just like so symbolic of who God is. Don't ever like write yourself off. Don't write your life off, just because, things are going a certain way right now. You never know. 3 months from now, things could be different. 6 months from now, things could be different. Like, you could be in a whole entire different season of your life that looks nothing like where you are now. So don't ever write your life off. The devil wants to keep us in a place where we just give up and you get hopeless and you almost just check out and you don't fight anymore. Like you don't want to get up in the morning and be curious about that day and want to find out what does life have in store for me today. But we need to actually fight to maintain that attitude, because that's the only way that we can even like walk into the things that God has prepared for us, is if you actually show up and if you have that positive attitude to even be receptive when those opportunities come. Because if you're despondent and you are defeated, then if an opportunity presents itself, you probably wouldn't even recognize it because you're too like caught up with how you're feeling. Like you're too busy with the pity party that you won't even see an open door in front of you that is saying, walk through me. I'm finally here. So that's just something for someone who is in a place where they feel stuck, they feel like things aren't going to change. I was in that place before this move. I was in that place about 8 months ago. I could say I was like borderline having a depressive episode, like because I really was just like, Lord, I can't do, like, how much longer can I do this? So my heart really does go out to you. Like I have compassion for when we are in those types of places and seasons in our lives. But hang in there, like don't lose heart, keep the faith up. Surround yourself with people that speak life into you. I can't emphasize how important that is. I've said little snippets of a lot of things right now, and these are all things I hope to get into in these videos. This is just a icebreaker, just to say, hey, what's up? Introduce myself officially, and yeah, let you know what Unpacking with Shans is all about. So yeah, I don't know if I should call it a podcast or a vlog or what. I don't know how these things work. But yeah, this channel is called Unpacking with Shans because that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna unpack nicely, process, heal, call out what needs to be called out, cry when we need to cry, laugh when we need to, like all of it, all the laughs, all the feels. But ultimately, the point is to live a life that is full, live a life that is meaningful. And that looks different for all of us, because we're different people, we're called to different things, we're good at different things. Like our assignments in this life are not the same, but we are kind of instrumental in each other's journeys because we can all learn something from one another. Like something that I've used in another season of my life, somebody else could use in a different season, even if it's not even related to the same type of like theme, But yeah, so I really just like, I believe in the importance of community. That's a big part of the reason why I'm doing this too. Like I really, really believe in community. I believe in, the value of getting around people that want to talk about the things that you want to talk about and that have tools and wisdom and knowledge to share regarding those things. And so, yeah, like we already have so many conversations that don't mean anything. Like we're already doing so many things that just take from our time. Like scrolling on social media does nothing for you, right? But if we could be spending our time on social media just engaging in the conversations and being exposed to the type of like information we actually need to make our lives, fruitful and successful, then like it's so much the better. So I'm excited.